one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it, because you can.
All right, guys, remember the story of Fontana PD officers, the detectives that pulled the guy in and said, "You killed your father." And, his dad wasn't dead. Well, the police chief of Fontana PD has released a statement regarding that, an update, a follow-up, whatever. And when I first read it, my blood is boiling. And that's not an exaggeration. I got mad because I hate to see evil done to people, and particularly to people that, maybe somebody that suffers from mental health that can't process it like you or I could, or is mentally healthy. Well, I'm going to try to be neutral on this. I'm going to try. Let's see how far I get. I'm going to read it to you, and I want to get your opinions on it, but I'm also going to play you something. Now, here's a message from the chief of police of the Fontana Police Department, and this is regarding this video.
Warning. Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Unrelenting interrogation of Perez Jr.
Murdered your dad.
No, I did
Yes,
not.
you did.
No.
Yeah,
Yes.
Daddy's dead because of you.
No.
Yes, not only that, but poor Morgan here.
Margot.
Sorry, Margot had to witness it.
Yep. I walked through the blood.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
Detectives extract a false murder confession from Perez.
We just told you we found your dead dad, and you don't give a.
That detective is lying. Perez Sr. was not dead. But in this moment, Fontana detectives don't know where he is. Perez Jr. reported him missing after they had an argument. A search warrant was served at the family home. Perez Sr.'s wallet, cell phone, and even some bloodstains were discovered. A canine also alerted to the odor of possible human remains.
I watched the video and watched the interrogation of Tom Perez. What I divined is that they could get you and I to confess to killing Abe Lincoln if they wanted to. It's unbelievable. And they're not amateurs, and they know what they're doing, and they know how to do it.
Steering says even after detectives learned Perez Sr. was alive, they did not tell Perez Jr. Instead, they had him held for mental distress.
Once they learn this, instead of telling him that because of what they did to him, they 5150 him. They place him on a civil protective custody hold.
Now, here is the message from the chief of police of the Fontana, California Police Department. Our police department recently settled a lawsuit that generated misleading, one-sided headlines telling the story from the point of view of the plaintiff's attorney. In the interest of transparency, accountability, fairness, and maintaining community trust, I wanted the community to have the facts. Well, we've seen the video, Chief. But let's go on. I understand how difficult it is to be heard through all the noise these days. This was a missing persons case where officers and detectives followed unfolding evidence that pointed toward possible foul play. Fortunately, the man was ultimately located alive and well. In the settlement agreement, the judge on the case noted that a reasonable juror would agree that officers had sufficient evidence to suspect a crime had been committed. On the afternoon of August 8, 2018, we received a missing persons call from a man who said his father had been missing for 17 hours. He told us his father had gone to get mail with his dog the night before. The dog returned, but his father didn't, and his wallet, cell phone, and keys were still in the house. We noticed the house, and particularly the father's bedroom, was in disarray. The son explained that he had removed his father's mattress and some clothing and had cleaned the house with bleach. Officers became suspicious due to what they were seeing and what the son was saying. I don't believe him, but let's go on. They asked him to come to the police department for an interview. He agreed. Around the same time, officers reached out to other family members and talked to a neighbor in an effort to locate the missing man and discover what happened. The neighbor described the son as mentally unstable and said he didn't have patience with his father. The neighbor told us the morning the father went missing, somebody other than the father was seen driving his truck erratically. It appeared there was something in the bed of the truck, and the driver parked the truck in the garage, which was unusual because the truck was always parked on the street. All of these details led us to pursue a search warrant. The evidence in the case was presented to a judge, and the judge agreed that probable cause existed to conduct the search of the residence. During the search, we found blood on the staircase, the carpet near the stairs, a couch, in the garage, and in a bathtub and on the floor of an upstairs bathroom adjacent to the father's bedroom. We reached out to our partners at the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office and asked them to bring a canine dog that is trained to detect the odor of human remains. The dog alerted to the presence of remains in the father's bedroom. I doubt that, but let's go on. While the son was at the police station, we fed him, gave him his medication. Yeah, it looked like it, didn't it, in the video? Since he had arrived at the police station voluntarily, it has always been our position that he was free to leave at any time. Don't look, man. Don't blow smoke up my ass, Chief. You know that if he would have got up to leave, they'd have been like, no, sit down. They would have done that. I believe that's in my humble opinion, but I believe it. Go on. He never asked to leave and specifically told investigators that he had nowhere to go because we were still conducting our court-ordered search of the residence. At one point, he asked officers to drive him around a golf course. As they were around the golf course pond, the son asked how deep it was, and another eyebrow-raising question, don't bodies float? This don't make sense, but I'm trying to stay neutral. The plaintiff's attorney and media interviews focused on the amount of time the son spent at the police station, and he questioned some of our tactics. I'm going to get back to that. CNN also printed misleading material, such as a photo of a door with blood on it, insinuating that blood evidence was fabricated. I won't go that far. That published photo was not taken by us, nor was it part of our investigation. That photo was produced by plaintiff's counsel in the court discovery process and was never evidence in any police department investigation. In situations like these, it is acceptable and perfectly legal to use different tactics and techniques, such as ruses, to elicit information from people suspected of potential criminal activity. In other words, it's okay to trick them. That was done in this case in order to gain resolution. As Fontana's chief of police, I have the privilege of working alongside dedicated men and women who work tirelessly to protect and promote the safety of our residents, businesses, and visitors. Being a police officer is challenging, demanding, complex, and at times dangerous, even in the best of times. It's especially challenging now. It is also rewarding, particularly when you save a life or help achieve justice. We often encounter dynamic situations that require quick decisions based on where the evidence leads us. Sometimes initial evidence points toward criminal activity when there's none. We constantly review our handling of situations and, when called for, adjust our policies or tactics as part of our ongoing effort to improve. Were we perfect in how we handled the situation? Nobody ever is. He didn't answer the question. Hindsight is always 20/20. In the moment, we were urgently searching for a missing man, and there was good reason to suspect some harm might have come to him. Sadly, situations like these can often end up as homicide investigations. We are so thankful that this was not one of those. I can recall a local case in the past that had similar circumstances, and investigators were able to recover the murdered victim hidden by the same individual reporting the victim missing. He's trying to justify now how they effed up in this other one. We are sorry for what the son went through. Okay, I'll get back to that. We are grateful to learn that he and his father have reunited and their relationship has improved. Finally, I want the community to know that our detectives care deeply. I'm not even going to read this part. I'm not reading that. Thank you, Mike Dorsey, he says. This is the chief. Thank you, Mike Dorsey. That's the chief. I'm not going to read the rest of that bullshit. But I just want to say this, that he's talking about we can use different tactics and ruses. The tactics you used against this man, we've seen the video. Oh, he said in hindsight, 2020 is hindsight is 2020. It wasn't hindsight. We were watching the video live. Your detectives were evil. Evil. I'm sorry, they were. I know you have to use certain tactics, certain interrogation techniques. I get it. I was in the U.S. Army. I kind of know what psyops are. But those detectives were cruel. And then he says, we really cared about the son. No, you didn't. You didn't give a shit about him. Because we saw the video. Your detectives were cruel. Cruel. I get that. Okay, let's say they thought he was a murder suspect. Let's say that for a second. Still, the way they acted was cruel. Cruel. And the fact that you're trying to justify it and explain it away and, hey guys, we're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. Only one man was ever perfect, and his own people hung him on a cross. But there's a difference between being imperfect and being just downright cruel. There's a difference. There's a gap. And you have not filled that gap, in my humble opinion. That makes you also cruel. In fact, aren't you the police chief that drove the wrong way down Ukaipa Boulevard, and then when there was oncoming cars coming right at you, you hit your lights and sirens? Why? Well, you had to get back to the police station in Fontana. You know, I'm getting back to the PD. I can go any way I want. I'm the chief. If I'd have done that, you'd have pulled me over, ripped me out of the car, handcuffed me, and cited me for driving in the wrong direction of traffic. You can do it because you're a police chief. So my summation of your public statement here, it's bullshit. I am going to end with this. Yes, you do have some pretty professional police officers. I've seen them. I've seen them interacting. I'm just looking at the siren over here. Some of your police officers are professional. But that does not make up for this cruel, evil incident that you're not taking. We're going to be accountable and you're not taking accountability for this. You're trying to justify it. You're trying to explain how you were correct. Well, not everybody's perfect. I'll end with this sentence. The difference between imperfection and evilly cruel is a gap about as big as the Grand Canyon.